This year, we have 4 candidates for leadership fellows who you're going to be meeting shortly. Those 4 students, seniors, juniors, and sophomores, have conceived this program. They have planned it, and they will be executing it shortly. And it was really designed to help students at St. Peter's who want to learn more about leadership and become more expert in leadership to do exactly that. All 4 of our candidates for the Leadership Fellows program are campus leaders. All 4 have been involved in leadership activities here at St. Peter's, both in class and outside of class. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce them at this point. So we're going to begin with a brief introduction, and I'm going to start with our senior, and that's Vincenzo Marna. So Vin, why don't you tell the students a little bit about who you are, your background, and your experience in leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Professor Buckus, for that introduction. Hello and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Vincenzo. I am actually a transfer student to St. Peter's. I transferred in about 2 years ago now. I will be graduating in what is about a month, so I'm very excited about that. I am a business management major at the university, as well as pursuing a master's in business analytics. A few leadership roles that I have held on the university is, really in class. I am the team leader of my capstone project, which if you all are here, I encourage you to attend our Town and Gown event, which is later on today at 5 p.m., virtually, of course. I'm also currently involved in the local college collaborative with Goldman Sachs. I will soon be an alumni of that program. And yeah, it's just a little bit about me. I've held, various other roles kind of in the community, not in my personal community, not in the Jersey City community, but yeah, it's just a little bit about me, and thank you.
Thanks, Vin. Our next candidate in the Leadership Fellows program is Valeria Moreno. So Val.
So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And we hope that you truly enjoy this session that we will have. So my name is Valeria Moreno. I am currently a double major in economics and finance with a minor in political science. I am a junior at St. Peter's, and I moved from Ecuador to the US in 2018 to start my college career. And I remember that at the beginning of our sessions, right, when you're a freshman and they're giving you orientation days, they told us to get involved, right, on campus. So that's what I did. I followed that advice. And I've been a leader for lots of different programs. I am currently the president of the Economics and Finance Association. If you're interested, you can join us. I am also part of the e-board of the Pavo Society for Student Ambassadors. I have also been the team leader for the Goldman Sachs Local College Collaborative 4.0 program, and also the team leader for the CFA Research Challenge, in which we had to analyze A10 Networks, Inc. In terms of my community leadership, I am educator at St. Eden's. So I teach the children in different aspects of community topics and awareness on several issues that are happening in the world at the moment. And yes, right now we are part of the Leaders Fellows program, and we hope that you enjoy this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Carlos.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming and being here with us. So as Professor mentioned, my name is Carlos Adama, and I was born and raised in Cuba. I came to the US like 5 years ago. So I went to high school and then get enrolled into St. Peter's University. I'm currently part of the St. Peter's baseball team. and I'm a junior accounting major, and I have also been involved in different leadership positions since I started college. I also was one of the leaders of the Goldman Sachs Local College Collaborative Program. And as Valeria is, I also an alumni of the program. During my freshman year, I lead a team to create a product, and we presented in the Shark Tank business competition at St. Peter, and we were lucky enough to be one of the winners. And and right now I'm part of the leadership fellow program, and we for here for everything that you need. Any question you have regarding leadership or the school, and hope you enjoy this section.
Thank you, Carlos. And finally, we have our sophomore, Shelby Picnic. Shelby.
Hi, my name is Shelby Picnic. I am on the track and cross country team, and my major is business with a focus in marketing. I'm also part of the student government. I'm chief of staff, and I hope you guys enjoy the program today.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, speaking of programs, let me tell you what our format is for today. Following those introductions of our four panelists, I'm going to be asking a series of questions. We're going to rotate through each of the panelists, a series of questions, all focused on leadership, the nature of leadership, how one becomes competent and expert in leadership. We're going to do that for about 40 minutes, and then we're going to wind up our session today with a little fun quiz. It's actually a game that's going to be played. So I hope everyone has your cell phone, your smartphone. It's going to be played via Kahoots, and we are going to award prizes. Yes, special prizes for the first, second, and third place finisher. And by the way, we want everybody to participate. And the scoring for the quiz is going to be done. It's a combination of the number of correct answers plus the speed with which you answer. So if you answer a question quickly, you get extra points for that. And you'll see who the winners are at the end of our Kahoots game. But let's get things started with talking about the nature of leadership. And for those of you who have had me in leadership in the course that I teach, and many of you on this call have, you know that leadership is a very complex phenomenon. It is not simply about holding a position. So maybe we'll start with Carlos. And Carlos, maybe you could describe for our audience, what does leadership mean to you? How do you think about leadership? What does it mean as far as you're concerned?
Well, I would like to start for me with the very basis of leadership, which is the leader, the follower, and the situation. For me, leadership is established when a relationship between these two parties is established. So a leader for me is not that person that give orders. It's that person that step back, that help his peer, that is always there for them every time that they need something, that is stand out, speak up for his community, for his people. So it's this person, and more important, this is for me the key to be a good leader. A good leader is that person that make everybody around him better. That's the key for me to be a good leader.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carlos. Carlos said a very interesting thing, and maybe it's a bit surprising. Carlos said to him, being a great leader is making their followers a little better. I think it's an interesting thought that we should reflect upon. Let's take it down a little bit more from the very broad of leadership in general to leadership on campus. And Valeria, maybe I could ask you, what does it take to be a campus leader in your view? You've had some excellent campus leadership opportunities. How do you go about doing that? What does it all mean, and what does it take as far as you're concerned?
So I would say, of course, it's leadership is not something that you can learn from a textbook, right? Although I know we have leadership classes, but I would say that you can learn how to be a leader in experience, right? And of course, when you're on campus, right, you get to this new place where you don't know where you are at, and many people are in the same place that you are, right? As a student, maybe you're away from your family, maybe you don't have your high school friends right next to you, right? So I would say holding a leadership position on campus means being involved and actually helping other students achieve that professional or academic goals that they have, right? So if you can have the chance to join a student organization, right? And Jen is right here in the call. So being a student leader, right, it involves commitment, right? First, you need to know how committed you are to innovate maybe an organization, bring new ideas, and help freshmen or junior or sophomore students, if you're already a junior or a senior, to achieve those goals. And that's what happened to me, right? I had like so many senior friends while I was in my freshman year, and they helped me know or what options should I take, right? What is the best decision for me, right? And that actually helped me in my professional and academic path. So being a leader means commitment. It means a lot of responsibility. You need to attend different events because of how the structure is on leadership on campus. And this actually helps you. We have the Magis conferences, which are really fun and you can learn a lot from them. And just actually talking to other student leaders helps you have this wide overview of, okay, how can my organization work with you, right? And that's what happens in the professional world. Your business has to work with clients or with other stakeholders, right? So this kind of intrapersonal and technical skills that you learn through on-campus experience actually has helped me a lot. And I've seen that many student leaders are such great and passionate friends and students, right? So I think that is something very important to emphasize, and the importance of being a student leader on campus.
Yeah, so Val makes a wonderful point. I started by saying that the people at SEAL will tell all of us that prospective employees, our employers, are always looking for leadership opportunities. And I think that one of the questions that any student, regardless of your major, should prepare to be asked is the following. Describe for me a point in your college career where you were a leader, and what did you do and how did you do it? And so what Val just described is several situations where she was in a leadership position. And that is a great talking point for those interviews. So speaking of experience, I believe that you can learn a great deal from a leadership experience. That was a point that Val made. Leadership, to a certain degree, is sort of like music in that you can learn only so much from reading about how to play a guitar. If you really want to learn how to play a guitar, you have to practice playing a guitar. So the experience of leadership is extremely important. And maybe, Shelby, you could share with us something that you experienced in terms of excellent leadership. And then I'm going to ask you a second one, and kind of on the flip side of that, but maybe you could share with us an experience that you've had where you witnessed excellent leadership.
Of course, great question. As a transfer student from West Point, which is a military academy, I've been put through tons of trials and leadership tests to prepare for, a military environment. And specifically during the summer when cadets would get together for Army training, we would have upperclassmen lead the underclassmen. And my upperclassman leader, he displayed immense leadership skills that were, so beneficial to underclassmen to learn from someone who's about to graduate and become a lieutenant in the Army. So what he displayed was the ability to work well with others in a diverse setting. We would be, outside in the field. He adapted quickly to many, problems coming our way if it was raining or the plan changed. So being adaptable is an extremely important leadership trait to have, because, you can plan and prepare so much for anything in the future, but you really never know what's going to happen, as the time goes on. So I'd say, that's amazing leadership to me, is the ability to adapt and overcome challenges.
Yeah, thanks, Shelby. Notice that Shelby made a point that was first brought up by Carlos when she talked about the adaptability of leadership. The reason that leaders have to adapt is because the situation, that is the leadership circumstance, is constantly changing. And what Shelby described as an excellent example of leadership involved a leader who quickly adapted to a changing situation. How about the flip side of it, Shelby? A time when you experienced poor leadership. I've always said I've learned as much witnessing poor leaders and therefore knowing what to avoid as I have witnessing excellent leaders. Could you share with us a time when perhaps you've experienced very poor leadership?
Of course, yeah. I'd say as a track athlete, we're constantly in a ever-changing, diverse group where incoming freshmen are coming to the team, seniors are leaving, so the dynamic is always changing, and captains are changing each year. So you have to adapt to see who's that leader in the next year of an athletic program. And specifically, whenever we have a new captain, every girl looks up to that captain. We looked for them for leadership, for information. They're kind of our first line before we would go to the coach. And specifically, poor leadership to me is, I'd say, a leader who has too much emphasis on the drama and the gossip. They're not really leading by example in a good way. They might, be favoriting someone else, not treating everyone fairly. So I won't get into specifics, of course, but any leader that is a little unfair and too much into the drama is just, a negative. It's more about being a positive leader and fixing problems instead of adding on to the problem.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Shelby. Then maybe I could address a question to you now. Shelby gave an example that was a sports team example. Some people may think, well, all you have to do is get the very best athletes on that team and everything else will take care of itself. But Shelby was suggesting something a bit different. So I'd like to get your point of view on this question of even if there are the very best followers, the very best athletes, the very best subordinates on a team, on an organization, just how important is the role of the leader? Aren't excellent athletes enough? What is the importance of a leader and why?
Yeah, so thanks for that question. And, I really think that, you can have the most talented team, whether they're athletes or whether they're subordinates or officers, whatever they may be. But a good leader really provides focus and can drive the team forward. And they do that by clearly probably defining, the objectives and guiding the team to achieve those objectives. They kind of set and enforce maybe deadlines or what needs to be met and makes sure that the team is constantly on track. Another good trait or characteristics of a leader, I would say, is really to empower those team members to reach their full potential. So if we talk about team members, we want to kind of address their capabilities and their skill sets and sort of delegate them and putting them in the right spots so they can continuously add to the success of the team, whether it's the objective. I know Shelby is a track athlete, and maybe it's putting the certain fastest runner or the second fastest runner in the right position, so at the end of the race you kind of pass the baton off, or whatever it is, the relay, to reach the time that is needed to get, but it's based on putting the people in the right spot. So kind of, if you think about a bus, you have the bus driver and you're kind of putting people on the right seats of the bus, making sure that the bus driver gets everyone to the right direction. And then, you know, we mentioned, you know, a good leader also does take responsibility, and he does a lot of hard decision making. So sometimes, you know, you talk about the captains and the coaches, they're usually tasked with or looked at to be the leader and tasked with making the toughest decisions. And it takes, you know, a lot of emotional and logical reasoning to get to those decisions. You know, if you think about, you know, a work environment or a firm, and sometimes the team members can't make the best decision, but they look upon the leader, and the leader steps in to make those decisions for them by emotional and logical reasoning. And then sometimes I think also, you know, it's taking on the responsibility for making the good and bad decisions, and then showing and displaying a certain extent of vulnerability. So you can kind of show the team like, yeah, you know, I made a decision here. It might have not been the best decision. I accept it. Let's move on. So yeah, that's kind of, you know, what I think in terms of that.
Well, so Vinny talked about the importance of constancy, the importance of honesty in leadership, and Shelby talked about the importance of focusing on the outcomes and avoiding some of the extraneous, I think in Shelby's words, drama that sometimes can affect an organization. All very important. But the question that comes to mind, and maybe Carlos, I'll ask you to address it, is if all of those things are so important, then just how do leaders emerge in a team, a company, an organization? Just what causes a campus community? What causes a leadership, a leader to emerge? Are they born with different sort of DNA? I mean, what do you think?
Thank you so much, Professor. I think that's a really, really good question. Well, I believe like leaders, you made the leader. You can born in a certain way, but leaders are made. So that I will come back for what I said before, like for the very basis of leadership. That is the leader, the follower, and the situation. Like a leader emerge when a relationship between these three parties is established. Let's put an example in your community. Let's say your community is going through a really tough time right now. A leader is that person that stand up, speak up, fight for the right of his people, help everyone that he can, and provide solution for the community needs. I will put an example. I am part of an organization called the Cuban American Alliance for Leadership and Education, CALLE. This organization emerged as a way to help Cuban American students to have successful college career and future professional life. But the organization was found in a time in where the Cuban American community in New Jersey was getting smaller and our culture was being forgotten. The leader of the organization, Adam San Miguel, came with this idea as a way to save our culture and help Cuban American students to develop themselves and have successful professional life. But the main purpose of the organization is to save our culture, create bonds within the young people in the community to make the community more strong in the government. So as you see, this is a clear example of how a leader emerged. The relationship was established between the three parties, the leader, the follower, and the situation. The leader, Adam San Miguel, became aware of the trouble his community was going through because he was getting ignored and the culture was getting forgotten. So he decided to create this organization and find the young people of the community as the best target to make the community stronger. So we, the young people, become the follower. And thanks to this, the community is getting stronger than ever and we become more aware of our culture. So this is a clear example of a community, but also in a team, as Vinny and Shelby mentioned, like for me, the most important thing in a sport team or in a team in a workplace is the chemistry within the member of the team. And when you have a good leader, that is possible. You can have let's say in a baseball team, you can have nice superstar playing in his position, but if you don't have a good leader, those would be nice individualists, not individual playing baseball, no a team. When you have a good leader that bring all of these superstars together, that is the key to be a good leader. Bring chemistry, make your team members better than what they are before you came, and as being said, made the right decision to put everyone in the right spot.
Excellent, excellent. Valeria, you're another one that has emerged as a campus leader. You came to this country, what, 2.5 years ago, knew no one, no friends here. You left all your friends behind in your home country, and yet in a very brief period of time, you emerged as a campus leader. How did you do that? How did you emerge?
So I think in general, life is a learning process, right? And for me, it was so hard, right? And I guess my mental health or like my family, as you said, I missed everyone. But what truly helped me, and I'm being like super honest, was being involved on campus. You actually meet so many like great people on campus. Everyone has a different perspective, a different background, and that's how you actually connect with people, right? And everyone was talking about maybe the characteristics of a leader, right? And I would say one key characteristic is having that connection with people, right? And I would say that emotional intelligence of being able to talk to people, right? Maybe leaving that shyness away, putting that away, and like actually talking to people, right? Relating, and how can you find yourself in others, right? That's what a good leader does, right? Trying like to see what or how can I make this person emerge from the things that I know, and what can I learn from this person, right? So for example, I've been part of Model United Nations, right? And this was such a great leadership experience because I was the chair for a student, well, a high school student committee, right? And if you guys know how Model United Nation works, basically I had to host and help these high school students, right? And I remember that throughout the whole 2-day conference that we had, at the end, they truly like thanked me, and they were so happy that I was their chair. We had to take pictures. They actually were like, we truly learned from you. Like, you're the best chair ever, right? And it was not about the fact that maybe they were saying like these things to me, but it was the fact that I actually did something for them, right? And as Carlos was saying, right, it's what you bring to the table, and about me and how I emerged as a leader was like that, right? Learning from my mistakes, from my failures, right? Because that's how good leaders are too, right? Recognizing their failures and their mistakes and learning from them, right? So just being involved, talking to people, seeing what opportunities I am missing, what I'm lacking, how can I become a better person in general, not only a leader, but a person, right? Because a good person can actually be a good leader, right? And as Shelby was mentioning, maybe the things that are negative, I would say that that's how you actually can understand yourself better, and what are the main skills or your strengths, that and how your weaknesses can turn into strengths, right? So I think that is key. And I would say to everyone, just join student organizations, like maybe I know that things are online right now, but actually talking to people, being involved in class, just doing something that that you want to do because you're so passionate about it. I think it's key for the emergence of your personal leadership. Mhm.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Val. And thank you, Carlos.